How did we lock down in the first place? This is amazing, and no one is talking about it because it's so embarrassing. The American Institute for Economic Research just published this piece. Which genius scientist with a big gray beard and a lab coat who has degrees from Harvard and MIT, and which one do you think gave us the idea for a lockdown? Oh, it wasn't any of them. It was a 14-year-old high school girl. Yes, the idea for the lockdown as a response to the epidemic came to us not from the exalted Dr. Fauci, not from our amazing soothsayer scientific priestly class, not even from the elected politicians. It was a 14-year-old high school girl. 14-year-old high school girl who was the daughter of a scientist at Sandia National Laboratories. She devised a computer simulation that showed how people, family members, coworkers, students in schools, people in social situations interact. So she builds the computer model. She discovered that school kids come in contact with about 140 people a day, which is more than any other group. Based on that finding, her program showed that in a hypothetical town of 10,000 people, 5,000 would become infected during a pandemic if no measures were taken, but only 500 would be infected if the schools were closed. According to this high school girl's computer model, the girl's name, which I won't say because it's not her fault that we created an international policy based on a 14-year-old girl's science model. So I'm not going to say her name, but her name does appear on the foundational paper, arguing for lockdowns and forced human separation. That paper is the Targeted Social Distancing Designs for Pandemic Influenza from 2006. You know what this story reminds me of? This reminds me exactly of how we got the bans on plastic straws. That's another hysteria that has caught on around the country, if not around the world. Do you remember back in the olden days of like 6 months ago, we used to have plastic straws that we could use when we would drink out of cups. And then one day they banned the straws for some reason. We had to use those stupid paper straws that just turn into pulp and you have to eat them. How did that happen? Was it because some scientist in a big lab coat with a big gray beard who's really super smart and educated told us that we had to do it? No. Was it from some elected politician's imagination? No. It was a 9-year-old boy. 9-year-old boy, 4th grade boy, who did a school project, tried to estimate how many plastic straws people use every day, called a few companies, tried to extrapolate from there, and then started a nonprofit activist movement to try to get people to not use straws, and then when that didn't work, to try to get the straws banned. Not based on science, science with a capital S and a trademark over the E. Not based on the guys in the lab coats, not even based on the ethical and political discussions among our elected representatives and among ourselves. No, 4th grade boy.